Bermuda. I'm Jamila Lodge of the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation, and this is Mind Your Business, the show that brings you the latest information about starting and running a local business in Bermuda. Join us as we discuss the local business issues that are important to you. Today in the studio, I have with me Ray Jones, who's a Finance, Data, and Administrative Director at B.E.D.C. Welcome.
Hello, how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Oh, awesome. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the Streetwise Mba Program, which you are now going to be facilitating with me, of course. But for those who don't know, what is the Streetwise Mba Program?
The Streetwise Mba Program is a program that was put together by the Entourage Group in Boston. It started back in 2004, and it basically is a growth program for businesses. So it's for businesses that's beyond startup, beyond the validation stage. It's how do I take my business to the next level? And proud to say, the first international destination was Bermuda.
That's right.
Kudos to us. This year is an interesting and fascinating and exciting year because B.E.D.C actually earns the license for the program. So we'll be in full control on rolling out the curriculum and the program. So we'll be doing the recruiting, we'll be doing the facilitating, we'll be doing the hosting. So basically, back at B.E.D.C, we are very excited. And as you stated earlier, yourself and I will be co-facilitators.
Right.
So basically, the students will be in for a very awesome time.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. This is not the first time Streetwise has been delivered in Bermuda, but it's the first time B.E.D.C will be doing it, owning the license. Do you think that it's going to be any difference? Because I facilitated it along with another facilitator when it was through the Bermuda College. Do you think there'll be any difference? Is there any benefit to B.E.D.C holding the license?
Well, I think the benefit is that we will be in full control, so we will be able to put the B.E.D.C touch on it. And basically no slight to anybody that was involved before.
Right.
But we're really in the business of helping small and medium-sized businesses so we can really make the business owners feel comfortable, but also probably support them a bit more.
Right.
Because part of it is project management, and that comes under us. And so basically the clients come to the B.E.D.C offices, so if there's any assistance they need, it will be a natural fit.
Right.
Because we also will be hosting the classes at our headquarters, okay. So basically the clients will be comfortable in the environment, and so that's where I see the real benefit would be, is that we'll be in full control of the process.
Awesome. Now, who do you think this program is best suited for?
Well, after, let's back up a bit.
Okay.
As you stated, this is the third cohort, and I've been invited before to be an expert.
That's right.
So I've basically showed up and just provided my expertise. But after going away and actually doing the 2-day training, it's changed my perspective as to who really should be involved in this. Because, I was just thinking, I was coming up there were people in the class, small
Right.
business people, and they're just like, what I do next.
Right.
But after traveling, it's like, really, no, you really have to do a self-assessment as to how do I take my business to the next level. But on top of that is you have to work your own growth plan.
Right.
So basically it's live examples of your business. So you know how you go to school and they give these theoretical analysis, case studies and stuff. And you go home, you do the homework, and then you get your certificate at the end, and you just walk away like, okay, what happened?
The dots haven't been connected, right?
But in this case, really you're working on your personal business. And so for me, anyone that, as I stated earlier, is past the startup phase, past the validating stage, been around for over 3 years, making over $250,000, have more than one employee. That's who we're looking for, and is committed to saying, I want to take my business to the next level.
Yeah. I think that's important because a lot of times, we, like you said, we've had run the cohorts before, but if you don't have the right person in the class, it can become a challenge. And some people think they're ready. They're like, yes, I'm ready. I've been doing this 2 years, I'm getting ready to hire a new employee. And you can tell the difference of those who are really ready versus those who are maybe on the cusp, right? So I think that 3-year time difference really does kind of give you an opportunity as a business owner to get your feet kind of in, and you know exactly what you're trying to do, because like you said earlier, it's a growth program. So you're looking not to stabilize, you're looking to grow. What's next? You know, are you trying to open another business? Are you looking at I don't know, franchising? What are the things that are next for you as opposed to just maintaining? So you mentioned that you went to training in the U.S. So what was that experience like? I know you said it opened your eyes a bit, but can you elaborate?
Well, because at B.E.D.C we also run some courses, and I'm an instructor for those courses. Going over there, I found out I'm not an instructor. I should be a facilitator for this course.
What's the difference?
There's a distinct difference, meaning basically the students will actually work through the subject matter themselves, and not necessarily myself or yourself standing at the front of the class, teach. Right? And the difference would be because they know their business.
Right.
And all what I got to do is coach them through the process. I think it was an awesome experience. Was in the room of over 90 plus facilitators. You know, had to do some run throughs of scenarios in the classroom.
Yeah.
So that was interesting too, right? Because you're flip flopping between instructor and facilitator.
That's right.
Someone's there critiquing you, saying, "Oh, you just slipped across the border. You're now starting to teach
Right.
versus facilitate." But also the whole networking opportunity that it provided, being in a room with so many people, because we did have people from across the United States, but as well as 1 or 2 people from the islands. So it was awesome. Yeah, I mean, the 2.5 days went by so quickly because it was action-packed, basically.
Right. So with that, you mentioned a couple of things. So you said the networking that takes place. Is it an opportunity for you as a facilitator to still get learning or support from other facilitators from other parts of the country?
So that's one of the unique parts of this, I would say, family. I'm going to call it a family because that's how I felt by the time we left.
Right.
Is that we can reach out to other facilitators. We actually will have a little mentor that we can touch base with to kind of get ideas on how to not only roll out the class, but also if there's some things that happen in the class with some of the students, maybe we can bounce it off other people that's in the network or in the family, as they have created their own, I don't want to use the word intranet, but their own little iConnect,
Right.
where you can actually, just get on the computer and reach out, as well as you pick up the phone as well. So that's pretty powerful as well.
Okay. So with Streetwise MBA, can you tell me what are some of the key things that make this different from any other course that you may have taught or instructed over the years?
Well, I think, as I highlighted earlier, the number one key thing is that you're working on your own personal business.
Right.
The difference of going to any other class, like I said, is just some case study. But this is your case study.
Right.
You start with a self-assessment of where the business is today, and you try to visualize where you want to go. And by the end of the 13 weeks, you should have your own personal growth plan for your business.
Right.
Not for Ray's business, not for Jamila's business, but for your business. And I think that's more powerful than any class you can go to and just learn, these theoretical explanations. We're talking small business owners. Some of them probably stopped school in high school, and they're really awesome in their business environment.
Right.
This keeps them in their business environment, so it makes them feel comfortable with the whole learning and whatnot. And I think right from the beginning, the whole intimidation of, some people say, I haven't been in the classroom for 15, 20 years, but no, this is your classroom.
That's right.
It's your classroom. It's not Jamila and Ray's classroom, it's your classroom. But one of the most awesome parts that I haven't spoken about yet is the peer-to-peer learning, right? The CEO peer-to-peer learning. And I have to throw that part in there, right? Because most small business people don't even view themselves as CEOs.
That's true.
And it's really letting them know from day one, you are a CEO.
That's right.
So, basically, 1 week would be class, and then there would be at least a week in between the next class. And we'll be encouraging the CEO peer groups to get together, because I mean that's more powerful learning than anything, because there's probably somebody in that group that has experienced the same problem and has come up with a solution.
Right.
So you don't have to, start from scratch, And then hopefully when the course is finished, they continue meeting. And that's one of the things I picked up at when I went to the training, that a lot of these CEO peer groups still meet even after the class.
That's right.
So they're still mentoring each other, still helping their fellow businessmen to help grow their business. So that's pretty awesome as well.
I think so too. One of the other things that I think that is probably underutilized that I would encourage is the fact that because Bermuda is just one of many different cohorts that have taken place over the years, there are many across the United States, there's an opportunity for networking to occur outside of Bermuda, right? So that network gets larger, that graduates have the opportunity to even partner with other people. And so I think the opportunity that this particular course presents is huge in that regard. Because again, we're talking about growth. So how do you grow outside of Bermuda, where there's already a network of graduates here that you can engage with, interact with, and who knows, you might end up partnering with someone, in Boston, California, or wherever the next opportunity exists.
And when you look at that part, I mean, that aligns itself with what we're actually promoting at the B.E.D.C offices anyway. Right. When people come in about their business, whether it's startup, whether it's growth, and we get them to think outside of the box, that their client base isn't just Bermuda.
Right.
So when you align this course up, it's kind of moving on the same kind of strategy that we're passing off to our clients that come in. So I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, synergizing or partnering with overseas people to push your business to the next level, because Bermuda's only so big.
Right. And
depending on what product or service you're offering, you probably got a small piece of the pie, but the world can be where your clients come from. And then all of a sudden, who knows, you could be the next Bill Gates or whoever, right? So, and that's how I think, it's going to make the class so powerful and awesome, is really pushing the CEOs to think outside the box of how they can take their business to the next level.
So if people are interested in signing up, how should they do that?
Well, they can call the office at 292-5570. They can visit our website at bedc.bm. We have application form online. And then also, if you call directly, we can send the application form to you. You can reach out for Jamila or I, but the application form is pretty self-explanatory. And hurry up! Don't be a typical Bermudian, lay it back, wait to the day before, call the B.E.D.C offices and say, can I get on this course? And by that time, the spots will be taken.
Thank you, Ray. I really appreciate you coming and sharing a little bit of information with us. We're going to get a chance to talk to someone who's actually graduated from the course to give a different perspective, but I really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning in with Mind Your Business. I'm your host, Jim.
No, we'll do it again.
Okay.
Okay, so look at the gas really quickly. Nod. Okay, go.
Thank you for tuning in to Mind Your Business. We're going to take a quick break. I'm your host, Jamila Lodge, and we'll be right back.
How do you get inspired? Join B.E.D.C on Mind Your Business to find out how entrepreneurs get inspired to start up their businesses, whether online or brick and mortar. Be part of the startup movement that can help you to start up the next great business idea. Tune in weekly to Mind Your Business, because if you don't, who will?
Welcome back to Mind Your Business. I'm your host, Jamila Lodge, and joining me now in the studio is Jason Sukdeo, CEO of Bermuda Heroes Weekend. Welcome.
Thank you, Jamila. How you doing?
I'm good. So I know you, but for the people who are watching, would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Jason. I'm the CEO of BHW Limited, and we're responsible for producing Bermuda Heroes Weekend. Okay. Bermuda Heroes Weekend is going into its 5th year in 2019. We just finished up 2018, which was another successful year. And that's what we've been focusing energies on, and trying to make year 5, the 5-year anniversary, a bigger and better experience, of course.
Awesome. So what is Bermuda Heroes Weekend for those who have been like under a rock somewhere, who missed everything?
Yeah, Bermuda Heroes Weekend. It runs over the June holiday.
Okay.
So what used to be Queen's Birthday, now National Heroes Day. Bermuda Heroes Weekend is essentially a 4-day long event where we want to provide quality entertainment, but also not just for locals, but to attract visitors to the island. So essentially we want it to be a tourism product
Right.
and a reason for folks to travel to Bermuda. It started because I was traveling to a lot of carnivals myself, and I oftentimes got asked, when is Bermuda's carnival? Like,
Right.
when should I visit Bermuda? And what you find is that folks that go to carnivals, they typically travel and center their vacation and their money around carnivals, and when they can travel to various jurisdictions and spend their money on a carnival.
Right. So I find it's interesting to me because some people will be like, that's just a weekend. How is that whole thing a business? Because this is what you do full time, right?
Yeah.
So how is it that it has become a full time business?
Well, it takes quite a while to market it. So in setting up Bermuda Heroes Weekend, we had to market for a year out. We had to go visit other folks' carnivals and talk to people who are traveling for carnivals at carnivals to tell them that we're having a carnival,
Right.
come visit us.
Right.
So that's why it's a full year round thing, is really the marketing proponent of it. Preparations for it aren't fast and quick.
Right.
It takes a long time to prep for a weekend, 4 or 5 days of activities,
Okay.
to make sure that it comes off correct, safe, abiding by the laws of the land, so to speak, and making sure everything goes off well. So that's where it turns into a full year worth of business type of thing.
Okay. So you, we're talking about Streetwise MBA, and you were one of the graduates. Why did you even decide to take that course?
Well, I guess from a young age, you're kind of taught to work for a business,
Right.
not to be a business.
Right.
So I knew that there was things that I needed to learn in terms of transforming what I know to work for somebody as opposed to working for myself, and to be that business. So I thought Streetwise MBA would be a good segue into running a business.
Okay.
So I just accepting the fact that I don't have all the knowledge, and it's a good spot to learn.
Yeah. And look, you learn something every day, right?
Exactly.
So within the course and curriculum, what would you say were some of the best takeaways for you from taking the course?
Definitely a lot of the takeaways were the financials, the financial pieces for sure, having that in order, the value of knowing what your accountant's telling you, and having an accountant, because we did. Having an accountant, and then being able to decipher the information that they give back, and knowing what changes you need to make and adjustments you need to make to grow the business.
Right.
And then that was one of the biggest takeaways that I got.
Okay. So within the curriculum, you're supposed to be creating a strategic growth action plan, right? So you did that. Are you still working towards that plan, or has it changed since you graduated?
Yeah, we, for BHW Limited, we're in a unique position where the main product, being Heroes Weekend, is once a year.
Right.
Versus other companies who, they sell their product all year round. So we're marketing all year round for one main product, which happens in June.
Right.
So my strategic plan, growth plan, was to actually become a year-round product, find other revenue streams throughout the rest of the year. So we are still working towards that, to answer your question.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Lord, how long did you spend in that class? And you kicked it to the curb after that.
No, still working on it.
So I think for a lot of entrepreneurs who are running their own businesses and living their lives and doing what they have to do, just like you, there are a lot of challenges. Sometimes it's so difficult to actually carve out time to work on the business, they say, instead of in it. What was one of the biggest challenges for you? Was time an issue? Like, how were you able to navigate and manage that process?
Time was definitely an issue, and especially I speak to a lot of folks who have ideas in terms of business, starting up a business and doing their own business and running things themselves. And of course, the struggle is you need money day to day to make life happen.
That's right.
So the struggle for time, most people juggling full-time job and what they want to do as well in their own business, is the struggle for time. And definitely I felt that struggle in terms of setting up BHW and making it all happen, is the struggle between, well, I need to put money in my pocket, but I need to grow the business as well. So definitely the struggle between working for yourself and having that income is
What would you say to other entrepreneurs? Because some people are like, listen, I gotta eat, so I have to go and do this thing. But with the Streetwise MBA program, again, it's trying to set you up for that long-term future growth. So how do you convince someone to take the time to do that? Because who else is gonna do it if you don't do it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, definitely Streetwise MBA helped in that process and in that decision as well. Because again, looking at the financials, you're able to project and forecast and look at budgets and then say, well, I know if I can sell this much, well, what do I need to drop on this side in terms of expenses to increase profit margins to get money so that you can actually pay yourself. Because that's obviously the long-term goal, is to be able to pay yourself in your business and what you want to do. So Streetwise MBA definitely will help in that decision-making process. It's never an easy decision.
No.
It's never, yeah, cool, let's go do it.
Yeah.
And no, it's gonna take some time and working that all out and putting the numbers down on paper. But when those numbers are done, understanding them and knowing what it all means.
So earlier on, I talked to Ray Jones, who was one of the guest experts when you took the course, but he'll be co-facilitating with me this time around.
Great.
And one of the things that he mentioned was the actual CEO mentoring groups, which is something different than we've seen in other courses that we may have facilitated. How did your CEO mentoring group work for you?
That was another helpful takeaway as well, is to know that everyone else who's starting up their own business is really going through a lot of the same struggles that you are. So exchanging stories and figuring out what one person done differently to what you're doing, and then being able to help you through your process and what you're going through was definitely a big help. And even after the course, after MBA is done, I still talk to some of those CEOs, and we're still talking to each other to see how things are going.
Great, that's awesome. I mean, to me, I think that's the value, right? Because we keep saying we're not teaching anything, right? You know Bermuda Heroes Weekend, not me, right? I can't tell you how to run and how to operate your business, but we can discuss, challenges. We can discuss how you might have, overcome some challenges, and other people might have instituted systems, you know what I mean, to help you. And so I do think that there is huge value in that. If someone was, let's say, on the fence, because there is a cost to attending the course, right? It's not as much as it was when you went, so it's like, dang it. But that's one of the benefits, I think, for B.E.D.C having been able to negotiate the license. We always are considerate of, our local entrepreneurs. So what if they're on the fence? They're like, I don't know. I don't want to spend that money. I don't have the time, blah, blah, blah. What would you say to them to convince them to come on over?
I mean, money is a hard issue. That's a difficult issue. Money is difficult. If you can find the money, do it, but definitely don't put it out to time. Like you can find the time, and it's worth the time to put into doing this course for sure. I remember the last class was like the day after Bermuda Heroes Weekend was done. And I was like, I still gotta go. I have to show up because you want to complete the course, and that was towards the end of it. So the time is there. You will find the time. Most times the instructors are pretty lenient. If you miss one or two, they're okay. But it all comes together, and it's all worth it in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I will say we encourage you to go, because if you don't come, you know what I mean? If you don't participate, you're not gonna, because we can't do it. We're just there saying, these are the things you need to consider. But we understand life happens. So what you gonna do, right? So I appreciate the fact that you've taken the course. I appreciate the fact that you are still working on your strategic growth action plan. But what outside of that is next for you and the Bermuda Heroes Weekend?
We're definitely looking to develop that year-round product. We have, as I mentioned in the course, there's a few ideas around in terms of how we do that and how we become a year-round revenue generating business. So definitely working on that plan. That's what's next with BHW and moving forward. We want to also incorporate more into the whole National Heroes Weekend. Be more involved with the National Heroes and how we celebrate those National Heroes. Because after all, it is National Heroes Weekend, and it's Bermuda Heroes Weekend. So that's one of the goals actually from year one that we haven't been able to kind of capture as yet. But it looks like we should start to be able to do that in year 5.
Okay, That's awesome. So next year is the 5-year
Next
anniversary.
year is the 5-year anniversary.
What y'all doing? I won't tell anybody.
It's got some exciting things planned for
that's
sure.
so awesome.
Some big plans are in the works, and it's August now, and we've
You're already, right?
It's already started.
It's like a continuing
It
process.
just keeps going.
You know, and I think that's a good point to note. So even though this is one event, everything that you have to do to lead up and prepare, it's a mirror of the strategic growth action plan process, right?
Exactly.
It's like a continuous learning
Exactly.
that has to happen.
And it continues to evolve, and it continues to run through that process. It continually happens all year. If you just even look at the bands, for instance, they start to develop themes and costumes for next year. So we launch in January. For them to get costumes developed and made, they need to start producing those costumes in November, December.
Right.
For that to happen, they need to pick colors a couple weeks before that. And then a few weeks before that is October. So at that point, they're making decisions as to what they want their themes to be and things like that, to be able to pick the colors, to be able to make the costumes, to be able to launch in January, to be able to launch a website. So it all starts from now.
Right.
To make June happen.
Well, that's awesome. It's on my bucket list to participate, to actually wear a costume. Every year I'm like, yes. I'm going to do it. I swear I'm going to do it. And so I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, I'm going to start with Bermuda and then work my way up to Carnival. But I keep waiting. The longer it's going to get worse and worse.
Yeah.
I'm like, my knees are going to be like, listen, you should have done this a long time ago. No, but I really do appreciate you coming on and talking with us. I don't think people realize what it entails. And certainly that you took the time out to work on your business, right? And you recognize that you don't know everything about everything.
Yeah.
And so allowing us to work with you and to help you to produce that strategic growth action plan has been awesome. And I'm hopeful that anyone watching who is on the fence and is not sure, that you have helped to push them over.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you
Thank you for
again,
having me.
Jason. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jamila.
All right. Thank you for joining us today on Mind Your Business. If you have questions, contact the B.E.D.C at 292-5570 or email us at info@bedc.bm. And remember, if you don't mind your business, who will?